Okay, as usual, this is Thursday and we have our audience participation show. So the guest today will be Rabbi Mendel Kaplan. And if you have any questions or any comments or anything you'd like to address to Rabbi Kaplan, just shoot me an email at m.abeles@radio.com, and I will present it to him right here on the air, and he'll address it the same way. Good morning, Rabbi Kaplan. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm fine, Baruch Hashem. How are you today?
Well, not too bad, thank you. It's a little, contemplative, a little, it is Yom HaShoah, and that's been on my mind all day. But basically, physically, I'm great.
Well, it's good you're physically great, and I don't feel different than you. My social media feed is full of different things being written about the Shoah, and I have to tell you, Martin, I don't need to be lectured or educated by the cacophony of voices about the Shoah. I grew up as a child of two sets of grandparents, four grandparents, all of whom stared the Nazis in the face in very different ways. But the commonality is what I want to share with you this morning, as I think not only about the past, but about the present and the future. My Ukrainian grandparents, my Zaidi from Kiev, my Bubby from Kharkov, both narrowly escaped annihilation, as you know, at Babi Yar. On the days prior to Yom Kippur, the Nazis and their willing executioners, many locals who joined in, murdered 33,700, and I believe the number is 72 Jews in Babi Yar. A short few weeks later, during the holiday of Hanukkah in Dubritsky Yar in Kharkov, both of cities that my grandparents grew up in, 10,900 and something Jews were gunned down in Dubritsky Yar. Brutally murdered only because they were Jewish. Their murder was presided over by the SS, Yimach Shemam. But I have to say this because it is a fact, a painful fact, a fact that we do ourselves no favor by ignoring. There were many local willing executioners who partnered with the Nazi beasts and monsters. Both my grandmother and my grandfather, respectively, had fathers who were arrested by the viciously anti-Semitic Soviet authorities. In the end, both of my great-grandfathers, my grandmother's father, who my father is named after, and my grandfather's father, who my son is named after via an uncle who passed, both of them were murdered by the Soviets, beaten to death under horrific conditions for the sin of Yiddishkeit. But in the end, saved their families because they're being sent away to distant Siberia and Kazakhstan caused the families to flee. Unbeknownst to them, that saved their lives, and that is why I am here today. Because there were very few Jewish survivors left in Kiev and in Kharkov. My mother's parents also saw the Nazi beasts face to face. My maternal grandfather was an American Jew, a fourth-generation American Jew. His great-grandfather is buried in New York City. Yet he was studying at the yeshiva, the Lubavitch Yeshiva, in Atvatsk, which is a suburb of Warsaw. During the first days of the war, he was in the Warsaw Ghetto. As he fled, thankfully, successfully, eventually going into Latvia, and from there into Sweden, and eventually boarding a ship which saved the lives of he and some of his peers, they were accosted by locals, including Polish soldiers, who beat them and taunted them because they were Jewish. My mother's mother grew up in Austria. When her father was beaten black and blue and bloody by the SS and locals, he was privileged to receive a visa in which the community asked that he, as the shochet of a string of 7 important villages known as the Sheva Kilos, the chief of which was called Mattersdorf, would leave just until the storm would pass, and then they were expected to come home. My father was born to a malnourished, delicate Holocaust survivor. He nearly died in his infancy, and they barely escaped the Soviet Union in a cattle car. My father grew up in a DP camp. He didn't have a semblance of a normal life until he was after the age of 5. I don't need to be lectured and told about the Holocaust by scholars or educators. I grew up with these stories. These stories are a part of who I am and a part of the way I view the world. And I cannot separate the narrative of locals and Nazis. The many, many willing executioners throughout the Eastern European region continue to haunt me. And I have to tell you, Mark, the Canada that I embraced with love and committed myself to living in until Mashiach comes, and I want to be clear, I will not leave Canada until every Jew leaves Canada. I'm here as a shliach of the Rebbe to help Jewish people and to help build Jewish life in Canada, and I have no intention of leaving. But I am fearful and concerned for the future of Canadian Jewry. I see hate-filled rallies spilling into the streets. I see rhetoric that has gone unchecked. I see Jewish people being targeted and Jewish businesses being vandalized. I am concerned, and I think rightfully so. I challenge other Canadians, non-Jewish Canadians. I challenge them to stand up and to speak with moral conviction and clarity. Because, sickeningly and tragically, the words never again seem more like again and again. I'm not suggesting that we're facing, Rahman al-Islam, another Holocaust, as people often say. I think that's hyperbole. I think it's unhelpful. And I think it's not true. I think we are facing the largest wave or perhaps tsunami of antisemitism in the last 70 years. It's like a pernicious disease that continues to change forms and metastasize. The Jews are hated by the left, and then they're hated by the right. The Jews are called socialists or communists, or then they're called the bourgeois or the capitalists. The truth is that the Jews are neither right nor left. The Jews are simply, time and again, singled out as the scapegoats. The thing that society hates and detests most is superimposed upon us, the Jewish people. In today's day and age, the great evil is racism, colonialism, and that is exactly what Jewish people have suddenly become accused of. In the past, we were accused of being the opposite. We were accused by the racists as being non-racially pure. We were too black then and too white today, but the truth is that we, the Jewish people, are neither black nor white. We do not identify by race or creed or color. We are a people who are privileged to enjoy a special relationship with the Creator of heaven and earth by virtue of the special neshama, the soul that we have. A soul that one can be privileged to have in only one of two ways. Either your mother is halachically Jewish, or you have embraced Judaism in halachic form and undergone a halachic Torah conversion. And so, Martin, I challenge our listeners, I challenge the community at large to ask themselves serious questions. And I really wonder if the lessons of the Holocaust aren't being blurred beyond recognition in our modern age, where the blood libel of us kneading Christians' children's blood into matzah has now been supplanted for the demonstrably false accusations of genocide against Arab children. If Israel becomes the Jew amongst the nations and is being accused for the very, very same nefarious crimes that Jewish individuals were framed and accused of in the past, I ask, have we progressed at all? And are we, in essence, right where we started from? I have a great deal of difficulty with Yom HaShoah events that have in a focus on the Nazis of old, yet cannot recognize the antisemitism of new.